I would like to invite our speaker to come forward and begin our session. Let's introduce a little bit about yourself first and go ahead to begin the session with Mr. Dr. G and Ms. Huynh. Now let's go ahead.
Hello everyone, my name is Jin. Today I will share with you a presentation which talk about a systematic review of quality of life in sickle cell disease and thalassemia, other stem cell transplant or gene therapy. Presenter Mighty, made by Nguyen and Mighty. Uh, Now we can start.
Yeah, right.
Timetable and content. Part 1. 15 minutes. 1. Background and abstract about ACD and thalassemia. 14 minutes. Discussion 10 minutes. Part 2. 14 minutes. 1. Review of quality of life in ACD and thalassemia after stem cell transplant or gene therapy. 30 minutes. Discussion 10 minutes. Distribution data and statistics on sickle cell disease thalassemia, millions of people throughout the world, particularly common. Among the world ancestors came from including Sub-Saharan Africa, Spanish-speaking regions of the Western Hemisphere, South America, the Caribbean, Central America, Saudi Arabia, India, Mediterranean countries such as Turkey, Greece, and Italy. 5% of the world's population is estimated to carry at least one variant globally, allele for thalassemia. Additionally, birth prevalence for homozygous ACD is estimated at 112,000 live births globally, along with 4,230 per 100,000 heterozygous ACD births. AS has qualification. Next, what causes ACD and thalassemia? ACD is a genetic condition that is present at birth. It is inherited when a child resides to sickle cell genes, one from each parent. If only one sickle cell gene is inherited, the result is sickle cell strain ACD. People with ACD can pass on the disease when they have a child. You see, this is parent, and they born for child. Typical no blood disorder, sickle cell trait, and sickle cell disease. Well, we can next slide with the ACD definition and mechanism. ACD result from release of glutamate. Acid crystalline in the beta globin subunit of hemoglobin. This genetic alteration leads to the formation of the new hemoglobin S molecule, hemoglobin S, which turn leads to hemoglobin polymerization and sequence of the red blood cells. causing increases hemolysis and vaso-occlusion. You see, a red blood cell normal. Hemoglobin molecule iron also hemoglobin hem. But sickle cell disease, this is the normal gen and sickle 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 gen as acylglutamate uh, as a replacement of acylglutamate. About sickle cell disease, we have qualitative disorder. Hemoglobin differ in sequence of amino acids composing globin chains. Structure hemoglobin variants are produced such as hemoglobin S, hemoglobin C, hemoglobin N, and quantitative disorders. Normal globin production is diminished or absent, known as thalassemia.
Can I stop you for a while because I worry if we uh, talk a lot and don't have any discussion can make most of attendee feel confusing. So today you present a very varieties subject. You talk about the sickle cell disease and thalassemia. So I think this like is so important to understand the reason why we talk two kinds of this problem. Today I'm also want to introduce our expert. We have Dr. Joe. She the expert of thalassemia field. She has found a new mutation in the beta chain, beta globulin chain was registered in the clinical bank, and maybe she have the many experience in this field because she were finished PhD in Italia and Mediterranean East is a popular area for this kind of disease, including sickle cell or thalassemia as well. So I want to check whether you can understand that what is the main difference between the sickle cell and thalassemia, whether sickle cell is a kind of thalassemia or not.
Yes, um, I want to talk about sickle cell disease, and then I will talk thalassemia. Then I will compare with to disease. I think it might understand. I think I can share everyone about two to disease, sickle cell disease and thalassemia by two parts. Part one sickle cell disease and part two thalassemia. Then I will include about two diseases to people understand.
Mm, okay, I will check the ones listener whether they understand or not. Because you know your presentation is very long and confusing. Uh, Phúc,
Yes.
uh, Phúc, can you hear me? Hoàng Phúc, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Uh, can you differentiate between the sickle cell and thalassemia? What
Um, so,
the main difference between two entities?
do you mean by the cause? Do you mean the cause of the two diseases? So the difference in the causes of the two diseases is thalassemia is an inherited autosomal recessive disease, which results from the mutations in the alpha, in either the alpha or in the beta globin gene clusters on, I think, the chromosomes 11 or the chromosome 16. So it is specifically characterized by the absence or reduce of the in the synthesis of globin chains in of the hemoglobin, and it includes two main types, which is the alpha and the beta thalassemia. About the sickle cell disease, it is results from the replacement of the subunit of hemoglobin, which is the replacement of glutamic acid with the valine in the beta globin subunit. So this genetic mutation leads to the formation of a new hemoglobin, which is called the hemoglobin S molecule. So which leads to the hemoglobin polymerization and sickling of the red blood cells, and this can cause the red blood cells to be uh, increased in hemolysis and vaso-occlusion.
It does clear. Thank you, folks. You understand very well. Okay, let's move.
Sorry everyone, I will start again. Common complication of SD. Individuals living with SD face many challenges and complications ranging from middle of zero to the line. Complications including debilitating acute and chronic pain, acute stress syndrome, pulmonary hypertension, chronic anemia, stroke, kidney disease, gallstones, and other chronic and organ damage. About thalassemia definition and mechanism. Thalassemia occurs as a result of unimbalance in the synthesis of either alpha or beta globin chains, leading to excess production of one chain within the red blood cells, which is termed result in chronic hemolysis and in ineffective erythropoiesis. Drone 16, drone 11.
So I can say that in thalassemia, the causative factor come from the normal chains. For example, in the beta thalassemia, pathological factor in here is the if they did unpathologized, the normal beta chain will make the problem because there is the relatively excessive of the beta chains in the alpha thalassemia, and they can precipitate and make the problem, cause the symptom in the thalassemia. So in thalassemia, the main pathophysiology is the imbalance in the alpha globin and beta globin chains. But in the hemoglobinopathy like sickle cell disease, the mutated chain, the mutated globin chain makes sense. That means if in the sickle cell disease, the mutation belong to the beta globin chains, and this abnormal chains cause the symptom in the sickle cell disease. This is the main difference. We should know that.
Yes. Thank you, Dr. Stufan. I will provide my brief presentation. I will start again. I will talk that thalassemia, thalassemia classification. phenotype silent carrier, genotype, alpha, sorry, I don't talk it. Clinical severity, asymptomatic, no hematological abnormalities. Train or mild deletional hemoglobin A disease, non-deletional hemoglobin A disease major. Next, this is a picture talked about thalassemia alpha. We can see display. We can see as normal train is of the gene. Next, this is picture as normal gene have as normal gene have a about beta thalassemia, phenotype silent carrier, train or minor intermediate major, like beta thalassemia, but you can see genotype and clinical severity. This is a picture. This is a picture as normal strain of beta thalassemia. Thalassemia.
Excuse me, Dr. Chi. Can I interrupt you a bit?
Please talk, Dr. Chiu.
Yes,
Sorry, but I hear you quite small. Can I interrupt you for some slide? Can you back a bit for some slide?
Yes, Dr. Chow gave some slides to me, and I think it's great. I have gathered
one more, please.
I have gathered some slides about alpha thalassemia and beta thalassemia because it's special and new information about alpha thalassemia and beta thalassemia. I will go faster because the time is not enough.
Sorry, can you hear me? Do you hear me?
Oh.
Yes, I can hear you. You can continue.
You can talk. You can talk to me.
Yeah, I would like to talk a little bit in this field for the PT. Can you go back one slide back, please?
Em quay lại một slide đi em.
One more. Yes, here. So because today there are some students and some young doctors, so I think that they may have mistake or misunderstanding in the definition and the clarification. So I would like to say something in this. So as Phúc and Dr. Trúc also talk something before, but I would like to clarify something for the definition of thalassemia and hemoglobinopathies. Hemoglobinopathies will be clarified into two main groups. Firstly is the qualitative disorder, is including the variant such as HBS that today you introduced today. It is caused by the mutation, whether in alpha globin cluster or in beta globin cluster. It is usually the substitution mutation, and it is popular. But in the second group, thalassemia, it is a quantitative disorder that caused by the mutation that can take place in alpha or beta cluster gene, and it's lead to the low production or deletion total of the reduction of alpha or beta train. So thalassemia and it belong to quantitative, and variant or the structural abnormalities belong to qualitative. So you should understand and the two groups is belong to hemoglobinopathies, but some people may mistake, or some student may mistake or may misunderstand hemoglobinopathies is like HBS or HBE or variant structural, but hemoglobinopathies will be included the two kind of main group: qualitative disorder and quantitative disorder. And the mutation can take place in any place of the entire gene. Like in this slide, this is the gene of alpha cluster, which is located in chromosome 16, and the mutation can take place in any place of this total of gene. So alpha gene have a four gene in the both chromosome 16, and the special things that in one chromosome 16 there are two alpha gene, alpha 1 and alpha 2, and so for both chromosome there are 4 alpha gene, and the alpha 2 will produce the amount of protein with third time of alpha 1 gene to protein production. So the mutation that take place or may take place in either alpha 1 or alpha 2 globin gene, but if the mutation take place in alpha 2 gene, the problem or the abnormalities may be more severe than in alpha 1 globin gene. And in this slide, you can see, when you understand this, you can see the genotype and the phenotype appropriately with the alpha gene. So the first one with the 1 gene is affected. So the second is 2 gene is affected, and the third is 3 gene affected. And you for the third here you see this is take place by mutation of deletion. It is very common in alpha gene deletion, and the next below, it is the point mutation like HBCS or I'm sorry, for example, not, another mutation, point mutation is quite rare in alpha gene, but the deletion mutation is more common, and this is a genotype that the last one is the most severe appropriate with the HP bath eye drops, and it is the most severe. For the next slide, can you move a bit? Yes. No. Yes. No. Yeah. Here. For this slide, you can see this is in one chromosome 16, and mutation can take place in any. But this is the deletion mutation. The circle, round circle red here is the common mutation in Vietnam. You see, if the mutation is about alpha 5.3 is take place is a partial of alpha 2 gene, but alpha 4.2 is nearly entire alpha 2 gene, and alpha 3.71, 372, and 373 is an entire alpha 2 gene deletion and a partial of alpha 1 deletion. So the clinical manufacturing lead to this mutation maybe according to the mutation that may take place. I mean, 4.2 is entire alpha 2, but 3.7 alpha 2 and partial alpha 1. So if and the next slide. And this slide you see is including also the pseudogene of alpha gene for one chromosome, and this is a deletion mutation also, but this is a very large deletion of alpha gene, and the red circle C and Thai is the common mutation in Vietnam, and as you read in the articles, you can see C, Thai 3.7 and 4.2 accounting for about 98% of alpha gene popularly in Vietnam. So when you know the mutation before, you can use the appropriate molecular test to check for the gene, and the remain gene mutation or lesion. You may take another test to carry out the knowledge of the alpha gene mutation. Next slide. Yeah, in beta gene, beta gene is a little bit shorter than the alpha gene, but the vast majority of alpha gene, beta gene mutation is point mutation. For mutation, it is more common than deletion mutation compared to that of alpha thalassemia, alpha gene in alpha thalassemia, and according to the gene which is affect, we have a genotype and phenotype lead to from the gene lesion in beta gene. So we have four types according to the genotype here. The first is the silent, right? Silent. This is no symptoms and maybe no abnormalities in red blood cell in this. But it is very important to carry out the screening for beta carriers, especially when you see the changes in CBC with MCH and MCV. MCH less than 27 and MCV less than 80 femtoliter. Yeah, and because they may live normally, and even they don't have anemia or asymptomatic patient. But if you see the hypochronic microcytic anemia or no anemia, just a statement of hypochronic microcytic states, you check it out for the iron study. The iron study, including iron serum, ferritin, and transferrin, and you will exclude the iron deficiency or the anemia of chronic disease, and you may take hemoglobin electrophoresis with increased slightly HbA2, maybe less than more than 3.5%. This is the marker, the really important marker to clarify the beta thalassemia carriers. So the next you can continue to say, I just to focus for some student, medical student here that may don't understand about the molecular basis.
Thank you, Dr. Zhou. This is the best lecture I ever heard about thalassemia. Thank you so much.
Oh, good morning, Professor E. Thank you. I'm very happy to see you today.
Yes, thank you for your clear explanation about thalassemia pathophysiology. I could know very new thing from you now. Thank you.
Really, really, thank you. It's just a small point for students. Thank you.
Thank you.
Dr. Châu gave the many valuable information for clinical practice, but I know that it seems difficult for students can understand fully. So let's try to improve day by day. Okay, let's move, Dr. Jin.
Thank you, Dr. Joe. You have shared, joy in information or knowledge about thalassemia. I think it's great. Thank you. Then I was taught about thalassemia. We will talk TDT and NTDT. It means transfusion dependent, non-transfusion dependent. Anemia, you can see it's a free alpha-globin chains membrane damage to breed peripheral erythrocytes. Then hematolysis make anemia, and you can see to try or to Y. Ineffective erythropoiesis, where anemia make erythropoietin increases, makes bone marrow expansion. Iron absorption increases, and blood transfusion make iron flooding. Diagnosis by transfusion requirements. Non-transfusion dependent thalassemia. Transfusion dependent thalassemia. You can see green color and red color. Transfusion seldom require. Occasional transfusion require surgery, pregnancy, and infection. Transfusion dependent thalassemia (TDT). Intermittent transfusion required. Poor growth and development specific morbidities. Regular lifelong transfusion required for survival. Yes, you can see. This is many trial about beta thalassemia and thalassemia can use transfusion. Yes, this is the mechanism of disease presentation and complication. Red blood cells make bone spin and fractures, hematomegaly, splenomegaly, iron deposition in visceral organs, parathyroid and thyroid glands, pituitary gland, pancreas, testes, and ovaries, like endocrine dysfunction, liver and heart, liver cirrhosis, heart arrhythmias, and heart failure. This is the picture about children get thalassemia or SD. I will talk about treatment. First, classical treatment. 1. Transfusion has been associated with improvement in its RQOL outcomes in both CGD and SCD. Transfusion therapy and monitoring iron loading in thalassemia. This is the routine used for patients. You can see one blood unit contains 200 milligram iron, a 50 kilogram. Thalassemia patient receiving 45 units of blood. Yes, as you can see, rate of iron loading influences the therapeutic goal. Next slide. Dose selection therapy, iron overload and organ loading, transferring saturation due to increasing iron absorption from intestine and iron release from macrophage transfunction. The second formation of NTBI and in plasma uncontrolled iron loading of organ. Yes, pituitary, parathyroid, thyroid, heart, liver, pancreas, and gonads. This is associated to iron deposit. You can see. The liver plays a central role in iron regulation and dysregulation because this is the diagram about liver damage. First, increasing iron absorption and release. Reticulum don't have neurocytin. High iron increases transferrin saturation, formation of NTBI in the plasma, and hematocellular iron overload is the iron over which hematopoietic capacity is made liver damage. Systemic iron overload which may reduce NTBI clearance, iron leakage, low transferrin production, low hemcidin production, liver damage. Three hosts for parameters used to evaluate iron overload. Parameter liver iron content, normal, middle, moderate, and severe. Serum ferritin transferrin, myocardial, MRIT2, and alanine aminotransferase, ALT, Labi plasma iron. Cosolic macated iron charter First, deferritisol, deferrosamine, deferriprole. This is a traditional medicine. We can find about deferriprole subcutaneous infection. Subcutaneous infection of deferrosamine administered with a 5 cm and 16 cm treatment pump from 10 to 12 hours a day, from 5 to 7 days a week, usually during a patient's sleep time, and FDA approved TIS guide first-line treatment. I will talk that present with several forms of thalassemia and transfusion-dependent and at increases risk for several complications, growth impairment, bone abnormalities, osteoporosis, endocrinitis, pulmonary hypertension, splenomegaly, and hypercoagulability. Endocrine complication. Short study, hypogonadism. Short study. Rhythmic abnormalities. Hypoparathyroid. Hypothyroidism. Dysplasia. The complication in thalassemia about thrombosis. You can see is fact pulmonary occlusion, this vein thrombosis. Yes, it's like cardiovascular disease and pulmonary hypertension. This is the mechanism make pulmonary hypertension as normal mechanism forces and vasoconstriction. This is a slide talk about reported process in thalassemia. You can see. 2. Surgical sleep. In fact, the doctor can surgical spleen get more spleen about patient body because sleep make because sleeping make blood become make iron of blood. 2. New treatment. 1. Medicine. Hydroxyurea is the most commonly used disease-modifying therapy in SD and has been also associated with benefits for its acute oral outcomes, in particular social domains. Because you can see this diagram, hydroxyurea decreases vasoconstriction and decreases hemoglobin, so it may improve tissue oxygenation and decrease inflammation. Now, only for medicine, hydroxyurea, L-glutamine, green CMCA, and voxelotor are currently the only FDA-approved medicine used to treat SD. Nevertheless, there were potential benefits for its IQOL outcomes in non-square estates. Two, hematopoietic stem cell transplant, HSCT, and gene therapy. This picture talks about stem cell transplant, collection of blood-forming stem cell. Then, stem cell corrected by beta-globin gene transfer from viral vector, and final transfusion of corrected stem cells back to patient. Types of stem cell. 1. Bone marrow traditional. From family donor or marrow donor registry. 2. Peripheral blood stem cell with cytokine VSCF stimulation. 3. Cord blood, small volume, less strict LA compatibility, polycord blood banks. Well, those should be transplanted, but young patients less than 10 years with HLA, identical seedling and good clinical status kill a tree in more than 90%. Second, outer group, more than 60 years, should be well informed of the up to higher risk of treatment-related mortality. Patient and the family to make the decision. This picture talks about donor and patient good they use gene therapy and HSCT. But I won't talk seriously about system graft versus hospital fever.
I think you can skip this. It is too complicated for non-professional talk about that. You can skip this slide.
Yes. Sorry, Dr. Chufan, you want to
Skip that. Don't need to talk too much about the problem. The too
okay,
difficult.
sorry, everyone. I thought fast. I thought very fast.
Ý anh là bỏ qua những cái slide này đi em ạ. Không cần phải trình bày đâu.
Now
Không phù hợp với phần lớn những bạn không chuyên.
dạ vâng. Especially virus host disease.
Bỏ cái này đi.
Cái này em thấy khá hay.
Nó hay nhưng em nói chung gần như là nó sâu quá rồi em á. Ghép, em đã nói tới ghép là đã phức tạp rồi, và biến chứng của ghép nữa là cái chuyện mà em trình bày trong một tuần chưa trình bày xong được. Nó không phải đơn giản để nói một câu như vậy đâu á, nó phức tạp lắm.
Okay, em sẽ bỏ qua này. Next question. You know, the HSCT and gene therapy bring many benefits for patients, but they have limitation about requiring complex process and expensive expenditure, because just some small group of patients have benefit. Moreover, the method cannot cure all patients. Besides, it can happen complications early or late. Chemical method is used before gene therapy, serial infection, hemorrhage, decreased sexual function, changing hormone. Treat some concert brand security increased. But treatment failed because quality of copy vector is low. For example, interfere with normal strand ability. This is preventative strategies about thalassemia and SD. Thalassemia is a disease. Thalassemia is preventable. So, continuous strategy and targeted health awareness. Optimal care. Universal access to RA. Compliance to RA. Comprehensive registry. This is can see effective preventive measure. So optimal patient management. Yes. Effective preventive measure and durational preventive measure. Targeted coral carrier screening and genetic counseling. So, all in all, next, reduction thalassemia patient, reduction of new case, prolonged quality life of thalassemia patient. Start a family non-directed counseling, bridge marital. Both parents carry normal or healthy beta globin genes, make they born healthy children. One of the parents carrier an advanced beta globin gene. She is a beta thalassemia carrier. Born 50% beta thalassemia strain. Yes, you can see both parents carry beta thalassemia strain. It makes 20% with thalassemia, 20% healthy children, 50% beta thalassemia strain with children. Jesus strategy duration, prevention, health, system responsiveness, ability to incorporate additional survey requirement upon placing the policy. Applying the principle of effective genetic screening, various screening modality, so accessible to all target population, offer wide range of population options, flexibility and sustainability in long-term, lie in country policy and agenda. It may compulsory screening of 16 years old. Next, reduces couple career and any reduction of new thalassemia. This is an article about American Society of Hematology 2020 guidelines. I think it's useful for everyone because it gives prevention, diagnosis, and treatment of cerebrovascular disease for patient, doctor, and research. Summarize recommendation background, stroke, silent cerebral infarct, silent stroke, and cognitive mobility are the most common treatment. Squalor of sickle cell disease. Here, figure 1. So you can see the article. Interpretation of strong and conditional recommendations. Strong recommendation for patients, for clinicals, for policymakers, for researchers. For clinicals, most individuals should follow the recommended course of action. Formal decisions are not likely to be made. to decision is to have individual patients make decisions consistent with their values and preferences. Next, recommendations for stroke prevention for children with SCD living in low, middle, and high-income settings. Recommendation on hormone for children with hemoglobin WF or hemoglobin S beta 0 thalassemia is from 2 to 16 years. Next, guideline panel recommends immunogenicity screening. The evidence-based recommendation 1.2 for children who have a compound heterozygous SCD other than hemoglobin SC and have evidence of hematolysis in the same brain. Recommendation 2.1 for children with hemoglobin WS or hemoglobin S beta 0 thalassemia. There is a time to people can discussion host we can give advice or comment for my presentation.
Thank you so much for Dr. G. You is for too much to can prepare and present this very tough lesson. Even though we have to present in the wider range of knowledge, and maybe some of them cannot follow this and presentation, but I hope that we can select some point and make uh, sense for that. Firstly, I really want to Professor E and Dr. Kwok can help students to know how to improve uh, the presentation, because I think that you choose the topic it seems not good to can deliver effectively to listener. So Professor, can you help us guide the student how to prepare the slide?
I think. Wait a moment. Okay, so yes, he did a very good job. I think the thalassemia is very. Wait a moment. Thalassemia is very difficult issue even for me. Actually, in Korea, there's no thalassemia patient. So when I came here, I started to see the thalassemia patient. So when I was in Korea, I just met some cases who I remember one Vietnamese woman. She married a Korean man and moved to Korea, and she showed anemia and high ferritin level. So she regularly visited me. So I have very limited experience about thalassemia. But after I came Vietnam, I had to meet a lot of thalassemia patients. So I had to start to study about thalassemia, and I could learn many things from Dr. Chuk. Chuk is better than me about thalassemia. So anyway, in case of presentation, yes, English is also biggest barrier for you. But I think this is a very good chance for you to practice English presentation. Even though the first time is very difficult for you, but when you repeat repeat presentation, your ability will increase a lot. And also, I think time measurement is also important. All attendee wants to finish the presentation time on time. So you have to estimate the presentation time. So when you prepare the presentation, you can have some rehearsal time to measure your presentation time. Start and finish. You can measure your time and you can control the speed or contents of your presentation. And also the good presenter usually can make very essential slides. Slide number is should be optimal. For example, one slide occupy for 2 or 3 minutes. So if you present 30-minute presentation, you can use only just 15 or like that. So too many text also is not good. You can summarize the contents of the text and to show the picture and the small amount of the text is very good for listener attendee. So you must make slide as simple as possible and contains just essential text. And yes, this is my comment.
Thank you so much, Professor E. Dr. Kwok, I very much hope to hear the comment from you.
Hello, firstly, thank you very much for a very nice presentation from Dr. Chi. I really appreciate your work. I think you have worked a lot because you have chosen a very, very complex topic. I'm so impressed with your knowledge. And secondly, I totally agree with Professor Yi about your recommendations because it is a very wide topic. So you have to focus on mostly on a small point, more than to talk too much about. For example, when we see the first and the second, the third slice of your presentation, we have an overview of thalassemia and sickle cell disease all over the world. And you see, in Vietnam, there is no sickle cell disease. There is no sickle disease. Mostly it's thalassemia. So the next time, I think we should focus on thalassemia more than sickle cell, because in clinical practice, we may see sickle cell disease. When I from many years, from about 10 years after my graduation from university, I haven't seen any sickle cell patients in Vietnam. I just saw them when I were abroad, and mostly they were original of Africa. For clinical practice, you have to choose the right topic to talk. And talking about transplantation complications is very interesting, and but very complex, very complex. And there are so many complications and so many things we have to talk about before, during, and after transplantation. So to conclude, this is a good presentation that bring us a lot information about thalassemia and transplantation, especially this is one of the new treatment, the gene therapy, the new treatment that may help to cure thalassemia patients. Thank you for listening.
Thank you, Dr. Kwok. Professor E, Dr. Kwok, and me, and other mentors as well, let's try very hard to improve Vietnamese healthcare performance. as the professor mentioned, English is the big barrier for all of us. Not only the communicate manner, but also this is a useful tool to can study self-study as well. So you should try. Not only you, but all of you should try very hard to study English. And I hope for several years you can improve yourself better, and they can open more opportunity for you in the future. I want to talk a little bit about the sickle cell. As Dr. Cook said, sickle cell is a very rare disease in Vietnam, in Vietnam, and also in the Southeast Asia as well. Because you know that sickle cell disease will originate from the African tropical region in Africa. In fact, in Vietnam, we have some sickle cell patient, but they have the relationship with the African origin. They did a very interesting history because in the first Indo-China War between France and Vietnam, there are an army in the of France. We call that the French Foreign Legion, lính Lê Dương Pháp, French region, French Foreign Legion, and they recruited many people from the Africa to join this army, and they fight in the first Indo-China War, and the descendants between the French army and Vietnamese women have some of them have the sickle cell disease, and I have a chance to make a diagnosis for one case in Vietnam. But it's very rare in the US and Europe as well. It's very rare. The first case reported of sickle cell disease in one slave, one slave from the Africa moved to the US, and after he tried to escape, he ran very fast to escape, and after that he died. And when they do the autopsy, they can find some the sickle cell in the blood film. That is in the hemoglobinopathy. Most of them don't have the many severe symptoms, but sickle cell is a typical hemoglobinopathy. That's the reason why they picked a sickle cell and other kind of thalassemia in this article. But I think for in the Vietnam clinical practice, we don't need to care too much about sickle cell disease. I want to hear the opinion from the junior listener. Can you show your understanding of this lecture and give the comment for the presenter, or any other question you want to raise? Nga, see the hematology resident, can you give your opinion?
Hi. Hi.
Em có thể nói
Can you
tiếng
hear
Việt
me?
cũng được, tùy ha, nói tiếng Việt cũng được.
Vâng. Can you hear me? Em đang chuẩn bị cho cái bài bảo vệ slide thạc sĩ ông thứ 5 tuần tới. Mà em vừa mới bị ốm. Một tuần vừa rồi em làm liệt ở nhà. Em bị sốt xuất huyết luôn ạ. Chứ không phải bị ốm đâu. Sốt xuất huyết luôn. Em đau hết cái đầu này, em muốn lủng cái đầu ra.
Tức là em chuẩn bị vào viện thạc sĩ thôi đúng không?
Dạ vâng ạ, thứ 5 tuần tới là em chuẩn bị ở vệ này. Em có xem cái bài này rồi. Thực ra thì cái bài này thì nó chủ yếu là cái nội dung bài là nó muốn nói về cái việc là nếu mà mình chắc cái vào gốc hoặc là mình dùng cái gene therapy cho bệnh nhân thì nó sẽ cải thiện các cái chất lượng sống khác, không phải về mặt sức khỏe của bệnh nhân. Em thấy cái sơ đồ thì dễ nhìn. Thế nhưng mà ở mình ấy, thì em thấy rằng là mình như ở Bạch Mai thì chưa theo giờ ghép một bệnh nhân nào thalassemia cả, hoặc là bệnh lý hồng cầu hình liềm, hoặc là cái số lượng này thì gặp thì lớn, nhưng mà đúng ở mình thì cũng chưa có làm gì ngoài nhiều cái việc là truyền máu thải sắt. Còn lại thì tư vấn cho người nhà các thứ cũng rất là hạn chế, bởi vì chủ yếu là người dân tộc mà họ là kết hôn cận huyết nhiều, họ cũng không có chịu nghe. Tức là mình có giải thích các thứ thì họ chỉ khám đợt này thôi, sau đấy thì họ về tuyến dưới họ điều trị, chứ không có đưa người nhà các thứ hay gì đến xét nghiệm. Và em cũng có giải thích sinh con, tức là sao nhỉ? Tức là sinh bé nữa để có cái nguồn tế bào gốc máu cung rốn ấy. Thế nhưng mà họ cũng không có mặn mà lắm. Đấy. Mặc dù cái tỷ lệ thì cứ lâu vào viện, nhưng mà bệnh nhân rất là bình thường thôi, nhưng mà xét nghiệm máu có nghi ngờ làm ra thì ra luôn. Mà thường là vào vì thiếu máu, nói chung là cũng có nhiều biến chứng. Cũng vào thì gan to, rồi lách to, trông cũng lắm. Cũng sao nhỉ? Anh ơi, tí nữa sau cái buổi này em gặp anh tí được không?
Ok em, rồi cảm ơn rất là nhiều, chúc
vâng.
em bảo vệ thành công nhé.
Dạ vâng, em cảm ơn anh.
Dạ. Ok, em tắt mic tại mic em hơi ồn. Nga em tắt mic của em.
Dạ.
Is there any question else? In fact, I really want to find a way how to improve our quality of the rent round, because now at least we can improve the knowledge or English skill. So we need to find a way if that's because this program were designed for you. So you should raise your voice to let us know what do you want and what can we do to help you.
Sorry, Dr. Trúc. I want to ask you, is the in a Winmax hospital, is there the trend in a stem cell transplant for the patient have thalassemia?
We have the one case did the transplantation for thalassemia patient, but I think Professor E know very well this case because he did for that case. From when I come to Binmed, I I don't see any new case anymore.
Yes, I have one experience about the thalassemia transplantation in here. But yes, he was 10 years old, so he has a long history of transfusion. Yes, we did transplantation with conditioning regimen of fludarabine, busulfan, ATG, and he discharged after 30 days, and the condition was very good at the time of the discharge. But after that, secondary graft failure was developed. So finally, he fell into the pancytopenia, and we tried to give a stem cell booster or second transplantation for him, but because of economic condition, he couldn't continue the treatment in our hospital. So finally, he moved to public hospital. And because they cannot afford the more treatment. So pancytopenia prolonged for several months, and after that he died of the bleeding. So this is the first case for me for thalassemia patient in here, because there's no patient in Korea like that. So I experienced that thalassemia transplantation is very difficult. There are three challenges. One is that mostly the patient has a lot of transfusion history. So their organ function or alloimmunization can affect poor clinical outcome. And second thing is donor. Yes, usually donor is sibling donor, and also their age is still young. So to collect enough stem cell seems difficult when we harvest the stem cell from the donor, the sister or brother of the patient. This can be another big barrier. And the third thing is that thalassemia clone is very strong. My feeling is that this is not like to the aplastic anemia. The thalassemia clone is very strong and against to the donor's stem cell. So engraftment failure is much common than aplastic anemia or other disease. So it seems like cancer cell. My feeling is that thalassemia clone is very strong to survive. Yes, the third, yeah, and finally, economic condition is also very important. So we did a transplantation case with our charity fund, but you know, the allogeneic transplantation requires very long time treatment, and if there is some complication, we have to manage it in many ways. But usually the treatment way for complication also still very costly. So if we don't have insurance support, or if the patients are enough rich to afford the treatment, to continue the management after transplantation also seems very difficult in our condition. So also I have some friends in Central Pediatric Hospital. He has many cases of thalassemia transplantation. The outcome was very good, but also he's still struggling about many problems I talked to you before. This is my feeling for thalassemia transplantation in here.
Thank you, Professor. As he mentioned, theoretically, transplantation is the curative treatment for thalassemia or other kind of hemoglobinuropathy as well. But you know that there is just theoretically in clinical practice it's very challenging, and the mortality rate, that means the rate of death during transplantation is relatively high, and if we don't succeed, if we don't succeed for transplantation, that means the patient will die. But if we just treat by supportive care, like transfusion or some the iron chelation, we can save the patient for years or 10 years or more. So very difficult for clinicians make a decision whether or not we should apply transplantation for a thalassemia patient. Very challenging, I can say that. Dr. Kwok, can you give your experience in terms of the treatment of thalassemia patient?
As you know, and Dr. Phúc, the previous one who talked, the treatment of choice for thalassemia patient right now in Vietnam, especially in Cần Thơ, is the classical treatment with blood transfusion and iron chelation. for the bone marrow transplantation, as you know, it's very challenging, and there are so many complications, severe complications that affect a lot the quality of life of the patient. So if you continue with the classical treatment, and even I know up to now in the world, in many developed countries, for example, in European countries, they continue to use classical treatment as the first choice, not bone marrow transplantation. But the second direction is gene therapy. Is very I would say it is a new treatment and maybe less complication than transplant. And for the future, I will gene therapy will be more used than bone marrow transplantation. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. Now they focus on the gene therapy. We call that the ex vivo treatment. That means they collect the stem cell from the patient, and after that they use the conditioning regimen or chemotherapy to destroy the patient bone marrow, and they use some technique we call the CRISPR-Cas9. It is a very famous technique were won a Nobel Prize recently, and to repair the mutation gene, and after that they can deliver the stem cell come back to the patient again. This is a very promising approach for genetic disorders, but it takes time to demonstrate the effectiveness in human. And also recently there is one case of African patient was treated by this technique, but it caused the many conflict of the ethic among the community. So very many challenging for the genetic repair, as you know. Okay, is there any other comment? I really want the our student can freely express your voice. I know that you can feel difficult to understand in terms of the English and also in terms of the medical knowledge as well. So I really want to change, but I don't know how can I do. So please talk. Can you help me, Nghi?
Yes.
Please talk your idea.
So I had did some research about this topic about thalassemia and sickle cell disease before, but of course it's not as insightful as the presentation. So after the presentation, I have learned a lot, and I think I also have to research a lot into this topic also. But I talking about transplant, stem cell transplant. I think I did have a question for Dr. Yi before when we met about that, but it's concerning the oncology, not the stem cell transplant to cure thalassemia. So yes, I think that's all for my opinion.
Do you think this is very overwhelming for students?
Yes, I think it's overwhelming for me. I'm not sure about the other fifth or sixth year medical student, but for me, because I haven't learned about medical knowledge yet, so it's a bit overwhelming. But I think that I need to get used to it.
Thank you. Dr. Chi, you receive many feedback from the different people. Can you give your response?
Sorry, Dr. Ni, you can repeat again a question.
In fact, she just give the comment. She don't give any question. They just.
Yes, thank you, everyone. You have you give us for me about advice or comment about my presentation. I think sickle cell disease and thalassemia is are really complex, and the presentation. This presentation, I will talk that. I will share with you about comparison thalassemia or SD, especially thalassemia, because I think it's important and important for my group. Or you can use it about your work. About part one, I think the content is long, but I think it's not enough for but it's not enough for thalassemia or SD. So I really thank you about everyone to support my presentation. I hope that people can get more and more knowledge from my presentation. Yes, thank you.
Thank you. Như Huyên, you work with the Dr. Chi to prepare for this slide. Can you give your opinion for that? You can talk by Vietnamese if you want.
Hello everyone. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Actually, at first, I was the one who picked this topic, so I just wanna bring some more knowledge to people because this is new topic and might be I think the technology of the future. So I chose this and I recommended this for Dr. Shi, and we were both agree on this. But when we actually get into doing this, we found out that it is maybe too hard for us to finish this because we have some problem figuring out whether we should do this. We should add this information to our presentation or not, because some people already knew it, but some people don't. So it's pretty hard for us to finish this. But the main person who do this presentation is Dr. Shi. So I think that she did a really good job. That's all. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Finally, I want to give some comment in case of how can we change the way to present, or how can you feel from the presentation? Ben, can you hear?
Yes, I hear. I think I had watched the video about the thalassemia in your YouTube, Dr. Trúc, and actually it is so difficult. And this topic Dr. Chi choose is quite complex, and I think Dr. Chi do on her best, and she give about the important information about the thalassemia, and I think Dr. G will first take English in a pronunciation after. So that's all about me.
Okay. I don't know how to encourage everyone try to talk, because practice is the only way to improve English skill. I don't want to talk too much, but most of you are very passive, so I don't know how to push. Professor, can you help me?
Actually, I have one class with medical students. So I operated for 1 year, and recently I could realize that, oh, their English skill is improving. So if we continue our hematologic grand rounding, furthermore, maybe all of you can check that your English skill is improving, also medical knowledge as well. But this is very early start time, but I can feel that everybody has very passionate to attend here. So let's try, let's continue, and then we can check our improvement just within several months. I can say that.
So I also really hope that you and Dr. Kwok and other experts continue to help us, even though you are not Vietnamese people.
Don't worry, I will try. If I do not attend, maybe Dr. Chu will be very sad. I will continue.
Yeah, right. Thank you so much, Professor E. Is there any question do you want we share with you? Because you know that we have some expert in here can help you a lot in career medical knowledge. So please ask any question if you want in the thalassemia field. I can say that 100% you will meet the many thalassemia patients in your clinical practice on a daily basis, but you might omit that because if you don't know fully about this, you can very easily to uh, forget. But if you know well about that, whenever you see a blood test, you can realize that easily, and from a beginning point, you can make the further workup to make a correct diagnosis. Is there any question? Okay.
Sorry,
Mm-hmm.
may I have some comments more?
Yeah, right.
Sorry, because I come later after you for a while, so I really don't know what how do you work our group, but may I have some some suggestions for students. Firstly, we have to define our goal. Just to help the medical student to practice. Firstly, I think their English skills, and secondly is medical knowledge. So for the presentation for the next time, if students who want to choose a topic to present, you should discuss with one of your tutor, for example, Dr. Trúc Phan or Professor Yi or me, so we can choose the topic together. And firstly, we try to simplify the topic. And to prepare the presentation just about 30 minutes. And we will focus on clinical practice. This is more important for students. And try to show them how to present a case or a topic. And we give more time for discussion. I have read the previous topics you have done, and I recognize that they were very deeply specialized. And even for me, I have to say that sometimes I could not keep up with the knowledge you have presented, because it's too complicated, I think. So this is one of my opinion, and I would like to discuss with you if you agree or not, so that we could do better for the next time.
Thank you for very good comment. I think from that time, please note that from that time, whenever you prepare the slide, please choose the one tutor, one mentor for you. And we have the group, including the presenter and tutor as well. Let's try to list the name of tutor in your presentation. Let's try to work with them effectively to choose topic and prepare the slide. Even though this is the early time and many things we need to do, we have to do to can improve in a long term view. So I really hope that you will continue to try very hard and make a strong group. We can recruit more and more younger people to join and help them to develop as well. So please remember that. Let's require for all the speaker work with the one tutor in each group to prepare the slide. Do you understand, Ben?
Yes, I do. That's a great idea.
Yeah, right. I think so. Let's work. You can choose whatever you want. We have right now. We have the 6 mentor member. You can choose any one of them if you like, and I will continue to invite more and more experts from the 4 corners of the world to can help our group. But right now, it seems sadly we have the more expert than the student, so we have to recruit more students as well. I know that you feel very impressed and feel many a big barrier between us because you feel don't confident with your English skill and knowledge as well. But let's try to remember that we are making a, a show. Just try to help you, not try to challenge you. So let's try. Okay, is there any opinion else? If no one have any ideas, I would like to thank you all for making time in your busy schedule to join us here this morning, and hope to see you the next time 2 weeks later. Goodbye for all.
Thank you. Goodbye.
Thank you.
Yeah, goodbye, Prophecy.
Bye,
Goodbye,
everyone.
Prophecy and Dr. Phot.
Prophecy.
Goodbye, Prophecy and Dr. Phot. Thank you, Chi and Hyun. Thank you, Chi and Hyun.